everyone. I am away from the tea set again today. I thought it was pretty cool last time. I don't know. And the tea set is kind of limiting sometimes. I can't always be sitting there, but I can always record where I'm at. And it's a beautiful day, so I figured I would sit outside for this little talk. I initially came outside and it was extremely loud. There's all sorts of banging in construction. Hear that? Yeah. So maybe my peaceful idea of this video outside, maybe it's just not gonna be a thing. I don't know. I'm just gonna go for it anyways. So I was thinking about how I recently started to read books again, and it's crazy. Honestly, I've always enjoyed books. I think they're important to have as historical pieces and all of that. And of course I read when I was younger, but I really haven't read much at all as an adult. I'll skim through some informational books sometimes that I've gotten gifted. And back when I was like in my growth phase, really, I don't know, probably like 8 years ago, I did a lot more reading, but I never really finished anything. But anyways, I started picking up books again just because, I don't know, I've been having to go to the library for various reasons, and so I was like, man, there's a lot of cool stuff here. So I figured all these things that I am interested in, that I usually just research online, oh no, I'm just gonna get books about the things that interest me instead and read those. And I'll tell you, I feel like it's important. I feel like it's made a really big difference. And I was thinking, I'm like, there has to be something more to this. My brain feels like it's working better. I feel like I'm retaining information better and actually learning more stuff. I took off my glasses because I feel like it's the window to the soul, and these are like important conversations, right? So I guess I'll take them off. But and it's true, I did some research because I was like, obviously there's something to this. I think I'm not just feeling these feelings for no reason. There's probably a good reason that we should be reading instead of using Google for everything, because that was my outlook for the longest time. Why would I read a book for information when we have Google? Like, I'm proficient on the computer, like why not just look up my answer and get my exact answer real quick and call it a day, right? And I mean, obviously it still has its uses in society, but I'm talking about like the deep learning. You really want to like dive into a subject, I feel like it is incredibly different doing it over reading. And so here is what I found, the results. So deep reading versus skimming. That's also the difference between reading a book and just searching stuff on the internet. So internet reading. Research shows that when we read online, we tend to skim rather than deeply process information. A 2006 study found that people read web pages in an F-shaped pattern. So they would scan the headlines first and then the first sentences of paragraphs rather than fully absorbing the actual content. Whereas when you're reading a book, traditional reading, especially from printed books, encourages deep reading, a more focused, immersive process that enhances comprehension, memory retention, and critical thinking. So all in all, the brain boost from actually reading the book for the information rather than searching it on the internet is it forces your brain to engage in sustained attention, which strengthens your neural pathways related to memory and learning. Because we have this thing now called digital dementia, and it's a real thing. It's basically the excessive use of screens and devices makes it harder for our brain to function at the level that it should. And then that bleeds into every other area of our lives and makes us feel like we are broken, but we are not broken. So another interesting thing about it, the memory and cognitive benefits are real. So versus reading rather than just searching stuff. A 2013 study in neurology found that older adults who engaged in regular reading and mental stimulating activities had a 32% lower rate of cognitive decline compared to those who didn't. And I mean, we also know that even just based anecdotally, because I mean, I think we all know an elderly person who does nothing, right? But then you've also seen an elderly person that is the same age who's doing a whole lot. And so there's something about keeping up what we have up here. And so I feel like all of these tools that we're given today, they take it away from us. We don't have to keep up our minds. And so if we don't use it, we lose it. And that's kind of, we're being made to think that all of this stuff is good and it's beneficial for us. And it can help. Obviously, tools and technology are very helpful. We can do more than we could have imagined, but also not important to sacrifice our own intelligence in the process. So, but the 2016 study from the University of Toronto suggested that reading fiction improves brain connectivity and empathy, training your brain to think in complex ways. I can agree with that. I don't personally read storybooks like for fun these days, but that makes a lot of sense. Your brain boost. It's unlike quick searches that give instant answers and are forgotten just as fast. Reading books helps to train your memory and retain and connect ideas over time. Makes enough sense. It also reduces stress, increases your focus. A 2009 study by University of Sussex found that reading for just 6 minutes can reduce stress levels by 68%. More than listening to music or taking a walk. That's crazy. Show me the study. I'm just playing. But digital information, especially from social media, often increases stress due to information overload and constant distractions. So, reading books puts you in a focused state, similar to meditation, which reduces cortisol and increases mental clarity. Whereas we hop on the phone, it's just an automatic cortisol shot to us no matter what we're doing. It seems like, it's never you're never going to open your phone and look for an answer and just see that answer. There's always a million other things going on your phone, it seems like. So that makes a lot of sense, which is actually really funny too, because we seem to feel like we pick up our phones to reduce stress, but in all actuality it's actually raising it in our body. The Google effect, over-reliance on internet memory. So a 2011 oh my gosh, why is my brain? Sometimes I'm reading faster than I can talk. The 2011 Columbia University study found that when people know they can look something up later, they are less likely to remember it. This is called the Google effect, or digital amnesia. Reading books forces your brain to store and retrieve information actively, strengthening your long-term memory. So books challenge your brain to remember and process information instead of outsourcing memory to Google, which makes a whole lot of sense too, right? Google has been great, but yeah, I've noticed older people that I meet that may be somewhat similar to me, they are so much sharper, and I think that is because they have not had to rely so much on the internet to remember these things, I've been interested in all these topics and various things throughout time, and I've always just Googled it, and I feel like I have lost so much knowledge just by doing that. It's crazy. And the last but not least, the craziest, most important one, dopamine and instant gratification. The internet, especially social media and short form content, delivers quick dopamine hits, making it harder to focus on long form content, being why people who make long videos have a harder time sometimes. But reading books provides delayed gratification, training your brain for patience, discipline, and deeper learning. So, books strengthen attention span and self-discipline, while internet scrolling weakens these skills over time. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. So what do you say? We got libraries everywhere. Maybe think of something that you would like to learn about, or even just take a walk through the library and see what they got. Pick up a book. You don't even have to read the whole thing. Just read some of it sometimes, right? I feel like it's a good idea. But hope y'all have a great day. Until next time.